All right, so we're just double checking what we did at the end of the room. So when Lazarus hits the stop button, that's the end of the level. What do we do? Well, in one of our classes, we check to see if it's the last room, and if it is the last room, we're going to do this one. We haven't done this before. Is we execute code. Execute code looks like this. You could type the word code up here, but the one you want is this one. It's got a little arrow. And, you know, we talk about this language called Game Maker language. We're using all this drag and drop stuff, which is fine, but in actuality, if you look behind the scenes, it's actually all this drag and drop stuff gets converted into this before it runs your program. So this one is not available in the drag and drop because they don't want you to use this. This is really just for debugging. But we're going to misuse it and use it to tell them they won. So all that winning writing code stuff you could probably take out and replace with this. So again, this is a collision event between Lazarus and the stop button. And so all you have to do is you have to type this in exactly as you see it, though. Show message. Show underscore message, open parenthesis, open double quote. You win, close double quote. And that will put that message up on the screen. And there will also be an OK button there. So, you know, a lot of people say, well, this will disappear right away. Well, no, actually, it waits for you to say OK. And then what should they do when the user hits OK, the OK button? Well, we just want to restart the game. So we're doing execute code. Just say show underscore message, you win. And then restart the game. Okay? And then if they want to leave the game, they can just close the window, I guess. Otherwise, you go to the next room. So that simplifies this code quite a bit. You can make this box a little smaller, I think, by dragging it. So that way it doesn't take up so much screen space. They really make it wide. Okay, so you show the message. See if I can make it skinny. Yeah. I guess over here, okay. That's all we're doing is if it's last room, show the message they won, otherwise, and restart the game. Otherwise, just go to the next room. Okay, so that's simpler. What else did I talk about? I think we just do it like that, and that should work. Let's try it just to see what that looks like. So I have 2 levels in this game. And so I'm just trying to get up to the stop button. This one that goes to my second level. Here's my second level. Now the way you make this game harder is you make the pit deeper and skinnier. That gives you less time to react. So now I have to stack the boxes up to get out of this pit. That's not going to work. There we go. Now I can get out. And it says you win. Okay? They say OK, the player does, and then they're back to the first level again. Okay? So that's kind of the process. Do we have to take anything more out of our code? I don't want to mess with that, so we'll just leave it like it is. I know we did some stuff with a global variable, but that's not going to be a problem. Okay, so that'll take care of end of game. So we've got that solved. But the next thing we have to do is try to figure out how to get Lazarus squished. Because right now the game isn't very challenging because you can't die. So time to get Lazarus squished. So what's the first step in that? Well, we always start with the sprites, right? So there's a Lazarus squish sprite. I've already made mine, but here it is. If you import this one, Lazarus squished, there's an animation there. And it shows, it's kind of long. It's a long animation. Because he gets squished and then they have all his guts kind of drip down. It's kind of gross. So if we run it, see how the goo kind of drips at the end. I thought that was a nice touch. Okay. Lazarus is not doing well. Okay, so make sure you set your speed to 15. I think the default is 0, so if you forget to set that animation speed, then you have to do that. And then just to get the transparent color. Yeah, question on the transparent color? All right, so now what we're going to do is we've got our squish sprite. Now we want to make our Lazarus squished object. So here, again, you say object underscore Laz squish. So create a new object under objects. And then say sprite Laz squished. And this is what happens at the animation end event. What do we want to happen? So add that event here. Say add other animation end. That's the one you want. So at the end of the animation, after he's squished, what do we do? Well, we restart the room. That's a little bit abrupt. Let me show you what that looks like. We might add one more thing here. Is Lazarus gets squished. Bleh. Yeah, that seems to be enough time. You don't have to tell them, I suppose, that they died, because it's pretty obvious that he died. Yeah. Did I say restart game? Yeah, restart room is fine. I think that would be too punitive. Say you get through 9 rooms and then you get squished, and then you go all the way back to the first room. I think that's too harsh. So I think you should just restart the room. Okay. So in the case he gets squished, you restart the room. Now, what can squish him? Well, we have to look at the boxes then. And what we can do is look at, remember we made that parent class, the falling box parent? So falling box parent, if we look here, I guess, so what I did was I added a collision event with object Laz stand. Okay, so you say object falling box parent collides with object Laz stand. So add that event, you say object collision object Laz stand. What should happen? We just do a change instance. Okay, that's this one. These two things, it's got the arrow. And we're changing object Laz stand into object Laz squished. But note, we don't have to do it for every single falling box type. Because we made that parent class, we can just do it with the parent. And that will do it for all the falling boxes. So it doesn't matter what kind of falling box lands on him, he's still going to get squished. If you remember on our squish chart, every kind of box squishes Lazarus. It doesn't matter what kind of box. Okay? Okay. And that should be all the changes you would need to squish Lazarus. So now the game becomes more of a game, right? Because you actually have to think about what to do next. So I'm going to pause here and then come around and help folks. And then we're going to do the next part in a second. Next thing we want to do is we want to show that next box. So we're going to have to make some changes to our controller. Now I recognize our controller is a mess, but it's going to get worse. The next thing we want to do is create the next boxes. Now next boxes are just there to show you what the next box is going to be. Okay? And so the first thing we have to do is create those objects. They don't do anything but just sit there. They don't interact with anything. They're just there to be on the screen to show you what the next box is. So let's create those boxes. You're going to have to create a next box for each of the 4 different types of boxes. So this would be, first one I would create is object next card. Okay? And all you do is you keep using the same sprite, the cardboard sprite. And that's it. It just has to exist. So again, create a new object, object next card, and then use the sprite card box. And again, its only purpose is just to be a placeholder for the next box. And then we create another one, create object. And this would be object next wood. And we're going to use the wood sprite. Next, create sprite. Object next. Metal. And we use the metal sprite. And finally, object next stone. And we use the stone sprite. All right. Yeah. Okay. So now they exist. Now what we want to do is we want to create them. Let's go to the controller now in the new version. We're in our step event. The horrible step event. Here, let's just keep this pretty straightforward. Instead of we'll do this. Instead of creating an object falling card box, we're going to create an object next card. Okay. And where are we going to put it? Okay. The question is, where do we put it? And so I'm thinking where we'll put this next box is on the bottom left corner of the screen. So our x-coordinate is going to be 0. And our y-coordinate, remember our room size is 640 by 480. So our y-coordinate would be 440. And we'll put that on the instances layer. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just in here in choice. Instead of creating a falling cardboard box, instead we're creating an object next card, and we're going to put it at the bottom left corner of the screen. That's where the user will look to see what the next box is going to be. Okay. If the choice is 1, yeah. So here, if the choice is a 1, instead of creating a falling wooden box, we're going to create a next wooden box. And again, we're going to use those same coordinates. We're going to 0 for x, 440 for y. Make sure not to click relative. That's an absolute position. Here's our choice again. Instead of falling metal, we're going to do next metal, right? And again, the coordinates are still 0 and 440. And then lastly, if the choice is equal to 3, then we're going to choose the next stone box. Again, same coordinates, 0 and 440. Yeah, question? Remember, y is upside down, so y goes positive down. So 0 is the top of the screen. 440 would be down the screen, not up the screen. But yeah, it's a good question. It's weird that y would be upside down, I know. It makes you have to flip while you're thinking, but it's the choice. Yeah, I didn't change anything at the top. I only started here at the bottom while we're choosing. So we still choose the numbers, but instead of creating falling ones, we're creating next ones. Okay, so if we run this now, nothing happens, but we will see the next box here in the corner. Hopefully we'll see the next box. We're hoping that it's there, and it's not. Why? Yeah, because nothing's falling. I mean, we we count up the number of falling things. That needs to be 0. There is one Lazarus, right? So there's one Lazarus. There's no falling boxes. It creates these things. But the question is, we're not seeing them. And I'm thinking we should see them, yeah.
The metal block is probably in front of the
The metal block, oh, is it down? I thought I did the bottom left corner. Isn't that what we're doing?
Yeah, but the metal floor block.
Oh, the floor one, yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking it might be in front. But see, the walls get drawn first, and then you'd figure these next boxes would appear on top of them, right? That would be my guess. But let me just take that block out, just for now.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
That's what's happening? Okay, we'll take the block out, and we'll try it and see if... So it's the screen order, I guess. Well, see, mine didn't appear. Oh, there it is. I wonder what took it so long. That was interesting.
It's because the Lazarus thing is happening and it's not the controller yet.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, I see. Okay, so it's behind the wall. Okay, so we've got to figure out why that is. Yeah, let's make a new layer then. I don't like making new layers, but that's what layers are for, really. So we'll call this one the next box layer, or next box layer. So double click on it, maybe click on it or rename it. Right click and say rename, and we'll say next box. Make it all one word though. Don't put a space there. Okay. Put the word T there, or the letter T there. Next box. We'll make it the next box layer. Now the way it does this, the order it draws things is first it does the background layer, then it does the instances layer, and then it's going to do the next box layer. And so when we create these things and in the controller, we have to get the right layer set up. So see where it says instances here? That's going to have to change to next box.
And we're going to have to do that with every level.
Yeah, next box. Yeah, for every type of box. I can't type today. Make sure you spell it right, because if you don't, again, you're toast. Why don't they give you a pick list instead of having you type it in? I have no idea. This is really dangerous, but they make you type it in. Okay, so now we should see the next box appear on top of the wall, let's hope. Ding, yeah. So the next box is a cardboard box. So we've got the first part done, okay? We've got the part where it creates the next box, but we have to now do the part where we have to change the next box into a falling version of itself, okay? And so the place they have us do that is before we generate the next one. So all of this code then would happen. So it all has to go right in here, to the right of this, I think. Okay, so let's do a change object. So grab change object and put it right here. See how it put it on the bottom? It may not matter. It does matter, though. See, what I really want is that I really want to insert it right there, but I can't seem to do that. Let me try it a different way. I don't want it here. That's not going to work. Okay, let's try putting it on the bottom here and see if it puts it before. See, it still puts it in the wrong place. So the question is, how do we actually get that inserted? Yeah, that might be a way to do it. So put it here, and then drag it above, there. Oh, maybe you can put it on the top of choose. Let me try that. We'll try that on the next one. So, so what you do is you drag. I would think you would say change object and draw it on the top of choose. I didn't realize you could put things on top. Okay, and so what we're changing, we're going to change, this is very strange, okay? We're going to change all of the object next cards, okay? What are we going to change it into? Oh, I see. This is what we're changing into. So this should be falling card. So where's falling card? Falling card. This one, yeah. We're going to change if there exists any falling cards. Now, yeah, if there, what are we changing into all the next cards? Now, there's only going to be one, right? But you say change instance. This is changing the instance of, we have to be careful here because we don't want to change the controller into a falling cardboard box, okay? And the way you avoid that is making sure that on this little arrow thing, you choose object next card, okay? So make sure you get that one right. So all the next cards will be changed to falling cardboard boxes. Now again, there should be only one next box created right now at this point. So let's try to do the next one. Okay, I'm going to put that underneath. And again, this would be object falling wood. So make sure you get these right, because if you don't, it's really going to be messed up. Object falling wood, and then we want to change all the object falling woods to or object next woods into falling woods. Okay. And then we keep following that pattern. Next we do metal. So we choose falling metal. That's what we want to change into. This one. What are we changing into falling metal? The next metal. Here's next metal. And then finally, we change the next stones into falling stones. Doesn't work. The reason it doesn't work is because we're not putting them in the right place. We're just replacing it over in the corner. And this change instance, the question is, do we call the create event or not? Because what we used to do is we would place these based on when we would create them down here, because we had that option, create instance. Here we did a change instance. So let me just do a little experiment. So don't follow along right now, because this is where it gets really dicey. You say create. So we're looking at the create event for the falling card box. Okay. So I go to falling card box. It doesn't have a create event right now, or it does. I wonder what it does. We set the direction and the speed. But what I'm thinking is, what we should also do is a jump to position. So here, jump to point, that one. And I'm thinking we want it like we had it before, object las stand dot x, and for y we say negative 40. Okay. So I'm going to add that to all of our create events for our falling object. So here's a create event, and I'm just adding it to the top. And don't do this yet because I don't know if this is going to work. Create event. Paste it here. Needs to be first. And then finally the stone box. And we'll see if this actually works. Now my fear is that the create event won't be called, and that would be bad. Then we have to do some more work. Okay, let's try it and see if it actually works. So I'm crossing my fingers here. And it works. Whoa.
Sort of.
Sort of. What's not working? Cardboard?
Oh, yeah, it does work.
It is working. Okay, so what you want to make sure is that the next box is really stone. It is. Next box should be wood. Okay, so now you're giving them an idea of what's coming next. Ooh, I got squished. All right, so let's go over that one more time because it got really ugly, right? So what I would do is, in the create event for all your falling boxes, put this jump to point. There's another way you can do that. It's a little bit more efficient, but I'm not going to mess with it. So in falling card box, go to the create event, and we're adding a jump to position to the start of it. This will get the box, when we change it from a next to a falling, we want to move it to above Lazarus' head just off screen. So we move the box up there in the create event, and then we give it a speed, and then it starts to fall. Okay? And that's in the create event of the falling cardboard box. Okay? And then for falling wood, same thing. We go to the create event, falling wood. Make sure you typed it in. Now there's a period there. I'll zoom in on it so you can see it. A lot of people don't listen to the videos. Make sure you put that period there or it will crash. Okay? Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is you could put it on the falling box, but then here what you have to say is you have to call the parent event. Let's see if they have that parent. See this one, call parent event? So you'd have it you go to the create event of the parent, and then it would do this. So it would be the same amount of code, so that's why I didn't mess with it. Okay?